We've seen perfect games. We've played them time and time again. Some of them have their issues, but the aura of perfection can't be denied. How long does that aura remain, though? Is it tied to nostalgia, or to the limits of technology? We decided to take a look at some critically acclaimed games and measure how they've held up over time. Rare's hallmark shooter Perfect Dark was quite the FPS when it first released. An amazing campaign with multiple objectives and side missions, co-op mechanics, multiplayer modes, including matches with AI bots, and training simulator missions were uncharacteristic of shooters in the N64 era. Even games like Unreal Tournament and Quake 3 didn't have this much to offer. Though Perfect Dark stands up today as an amazing experience, it has its share of archaic design choices. Missions don't offer waypoints. At times, you'll be unsure how to work some devices. Sure, it's a learning experience, but make no mistake, Perfect Dark isn't the most accessible, perfect game in this day and age. Even some mechanics in the shooting, like the aiming, were far from ideal. Holding down a button and staying stationary to go for headshots isn't exactly what FPS buffs crave. Speaking of accessible, the Legend of Zelda series is worth noting for all the remakes and remasters that Nintendo has been putting out. The Wind Waker is one such example. The art style holds up over time and looks even more amazing in Full HD resolution. Design choices, like hunting for Triforce pieces in the ocean or solving the old puzzles, are still up for debate. Then there are the stealth mechanics, which take a lot of trial and error. Is it any wonder then that Prima guides for Zelda were such bestsellers? Many games today are focused on providing a fluid, well-paced experience for players. The Wind Waker still holds up in its quality, even if there are numerous elements that break the pace. It's a testament to the game's story, but also to the ingenuity of other design decisions that it's managed to achieve such a standard 11 years later. What defines perfection in video games, though? Is it an endless amount of content? Is it a beautiful art style and cutting-edge graphics? The perfect soundtrack? Or just extremely well-balanced gameplay? In Soul Calibur's case, it was all of these things. With each subsequent sequel, Namco Bandai seemed bent on trying to improve an already perfect formula. However, graphics can be outdated, audio quality can be subjective, content can be cleared any number of times, but the gameplay is still solid. It may not exactly rely on a number of fancy systems like Street Fighter V, but its simplicity holds a number of complexities within it. Do we still consider a game perfect if its gameplay holds up to that extent, even as everything surrounding it becomes outdated? And thus we come to Half-Life, the perfect example of an outdated game that has managed to stand the test of time. Even in this day and age, Half-Life sets amazing standards for level design, artificial intelligence, weapon design, sound effects, and storytelling. Not every game has to be the next Half-Life. Even Half-Life 2 was pretty different in how it handled all of the above elements. But when looking back on Half-Life, it's not hard to do so with a lot of nostalgia. Could many perfect games in the past merely be a case of nostalgia? Are we ignoring the limitations of some systems based on what developers could achieve at the time? Is The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim amazing in spite of all its bugs? Is The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt any less perfect despite performance issues on, say, the PS4? Is Bayonetta 2 not perfect because some players can't get into that style of game? Perfection in gaming is a fleeting concept. It's one heavily tied to the standards existent today, but one that also asks us to remember the standards of quality set yesterday. Nothing lasts forever, not even perfection. But if it was strong enough at the time to inspire such nostalgia and fond memories, then there may be a hint of perfection still left after all. What are your thoughts on critically acclaimed games and how they hold up over time? Let us know in the comments, and we'll see you next time.